How you doing? I just gotta say, I started mapping out, and I haven't gotten killed yet. Um, I started mapping out uh, the area I'm in. I'm not really sure what happened yesterday. I'm positive I hit every fucking button on this thing, and I could not get that map to work. But after I threw it into a cartography table, and again, maybe I didn't, but I think I hit every frickin' button on this controller. But the left trigger button opened the map after that. So it might have been after because I tried to copy it, it wouldn't let me copy it. But after that, when I hit the button, it did open the map, and I was actually able to start using the map. Well, so I started mapping, and what I did is, if you can look on the map on the left, uh, the I did a complete ring around the outside of the map as much as I could, and then I went back, did a few things at my spawn point in the mighty mesa, and then I went and I did a couple passes on the left, up and down, and just worked my way in. Well, if you look, as I was coming through the water, right next to the unexplored area, I'd say it's in the bottom left quadrant of the map. I noticed as the first, I ran into two, for the one guy who commented, I ran into two outposts so far on this map. So there's at least two. There is a jungle biome fairly close to the mesa, so I now have bamboo. And but I found a village. It's up here in the mountains, so I'm gonna keep the other base, but I'm eventually gonna relocate to this. I don't know how fast, but I'm gonna relocate here, uh, and I'll kind of go back and forth between the two, and I will probably make a road or something in between them eventually. But I am going to turn this into a base here. I want a base at the mesa. I want a base here. I don't know which one I'm going to work on first. And we have a golem. So what I did was I got here and I started boarding up. I started locking up the villagers to protect them. And I got a handful of them locked up. So if I have to, I can breed them later. And then I'm not sure if I can find it again. But this might be it. But I came here and I was going through, and yeah, okay, this is where it is. I was over here. Okay, I gotta find a better way down. Yeah, I got here, and I think I was up here. Yeah, I came over here first and worked my way up. That was like the first area I was in was down there. And then I came up and I hit that one, and then I hit this. Well, somewhere in here, when I was up here, I started getting these zombies, and it was it was middle of day. It wasn't dark, nothing. And I started getting these zombies, and I'm like, well, where are they coming from? And I got to be honest with you, I didn't, I was going to do it, and then I didn't do it. But I got a zombie farm. So I got some stuff here. I didn't get a. But I got this. I haven't looked it up on Chunk Base yet. I was gonna, and then I thought, nah, fuck it. I'll just. I think I took the Mesa. Like if you go into the Start a New World and they give you like some blueprints, well, I chose the Mesa one. So I spawned in a Mesa. But this is kind of fucking cool. So I'm going to have an XP farm pretty quick. Yes, I farted. And but I got that. So I am going to head back to Moonbase Alpha at the Mesa. Holy shit. And but I just wanted to come over here, put some lights in it. And then what I did was every one of these, I might have missed one, but every one of these that I saw, I moved the chest out, and then that way, as I was locking these guys up, I wouldn't have to reopen it to get the supplies in there. And so I'm gonna head back, and I got this started. Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, I got so now I got Moonbase Alpha planned here. Actually, I should save that for the end when I get there. But I got these two areas marked, and so I'm pretty happy now. And then as I get time, I might explore more. But I am gonna basically work on this over here and this over here before I explore too much more. Uh, so I was pretty happy. Let's just leave it at that. I'm gonna wait until I can sleep. I'm not gonna go too much further. Yeah, I didn't even think of one because usually they're not that high up. Usually they're down in the ground. But I was a little pumped on it because I'm like, oh my god! I figured there was like a cave or something nearby, and they were just spawning and coming around because they weren't really coming that fast. But I don't care. I that is cool. But I'm gonna have to. I gotta. I'm gonna do chunk base, and look, hate me if you want. At least I'm being honest, but I'm not acting like this one here. I was an accident. It was a beautiful, beautiful, sweet accident. But I am gonna check chunk base and see if I can find a skeleton farm. I don't need to check it for outposts because I found two of them. So down the road, the plan is I want to make a raid farm like on my old one, but I am gonna make the Iron Badger, and then I would like to make one where you completely demolish the tower and have them spawn. Okay, now what I'm gonna be trying to watch, and I may or may not, but it's Ancient Mysteries and the Price of Going Against the Narrative, a talk with Graham Hancock. It's on a channel called Midnight Edge on YouTube, and I might watch it afterwards. I might just get the stream done. The thing I watched I saw on Threads was somebody had posted it, and they seemed genuinely disturbed, curious, whatever you want to put. But what they did was they put up and I'll be honest, I don't know, but they put up a thing from a UK tabloid about how the congressman or Congress people in D.C. It was a UK tabloid, but and they had a picture of what looked like a skeleton or an alien. It looked bad. Maybe it's real. I don't know. Um, but it was a picture of a little miniature thing in a coffin, and it said that members of Congress were shown alien bodies. as part of the declassified thing. And he was like, "What is going on?" And here's the thing. Oh, I got a little bit of lava. Um, okay, I can get up that way. I don't have to go swimming. But he was freaking out because he didn't, and I think he was. I mean, it seemed genuine. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed genuine. He was like, "Is this real?" You know. And somebody commented on that it didn't look real, and and that was one of the things. I just want to share this. There was something I was watching, and the guy in question, they brought in like a special effects guy, and they asked him if they thought a video was real. And I don't know if this was Lou Elizondo, but it was some like semi, or at least I would consider that they're at least potentially uh, honest brokers. They see, again, whether they're right or wrong is a different story, but I think they mean well. But if people are lying to them, you take like Bob Lazar. This was something, and I don't remember this from before, but this was a recent thing where somebody was talking about Bob Lazar, and I don't know if this is a claim he made back in the day or if it's something he said now, but he basically said that, he was exposed to all this stuff. Like, it sounds like he only really worked on one craft. Some of the other ones he either saw pictures of, or he saw him walking through. He saw him in the distance walking through the place. And I want to get the raid farms going so I can. Oh, look at that! This was a brand new discovery. I was exactly this old when I discovered this. I got room and I got access, so I'm going to clear some of this too. I did this on the last one. Every one of these I reactivated. It's going to take a little bit of time. But every time I found one of these, I made my own too, but every one of these ones I found, I eventually reactivated it. My my brother's snorting like he slept all day yesterday too. I sincerely hope he gets his ride thing sorted out. He pissed me off the other day because he was lying to his one friend that he had from the when he was over at the nursing home. She still keeps in touch. Nobody else does. She does. And I told him before because she found out I was in the room, so she started jumping my ass about him being kicked off the internet, and she wasn't told the truth. And when the thing was over, I was very serious. I told him, I go, that better be the last fucking lie I get accused of that you're telling people. And he goes, well, y'all talk to her. Because this thing, he fucking lies to people all the fucking time. He did it when he was younger too. I can't really blame that on, it's just who he is. But I don't really appreciate it. Well, he was talking to the people that do his dialysis, and you know, he just basically said, well, nobody wants to do anything, poor me, Well, here, fuck you. You were in a nursing home. They were taking care of you. You basically lied to them. You did all this shit to prove you could come home. 'Cause basically, he wanted to get back on. What the fuck? Okay, I've honestly never seen this before. That I've never. I'm gonna call that a glitch. But he convinced them that he could take care of himself and all this other bullshit, so he could come home because he wanted to get on the good drugs, is what I guess he told my sister. And as soon as he got home, we were told this, that, and the other thing, and none of it seemed to be true. Like, he got home and thought, he was basically told, "Mom's sick. She can't drive you around." He knew this when he was home. "I'm sick. I can't fucking drive him around." And ooh, I think I am gonna take that flint and steel. And things happen. Mom's dead now, but he was basically told, if he comes home, Mom is not going to be able to fucking take care of you like she did before. She's sick. She was dying of cancer. And he's telling them that, oh, well, my family abandoned. Well, our sister did. But you know what? It's not her job to drive you around. It's not her job to drive me around. This is why I'm asking for people. Yeah, we'll get this out of the way. Hey, get a hold of your elected officials. Ask them to legalize assisted suicide. I'll be honest, I don't expect my sister to drive me around. And, with the sleazy shit she's been doing with the house, I don't know if I really want anything from her. Her and her family can fucking die as far as I'm concerned. They're my oldest brother, too. Fuck them all. There's some sleazy fucking shitbags. The people that were responsible for me getting, as far as I can tell, I was drugged or poisoned when I worked at GM. Those people that were involved in that, I hope they fucking die too. I mean that sincerely. I don't care if it's in a car accident. I don't care if their fucking house burns down. I don't care if somebody breaks into their house and fucking murders them and their whole fucking. I hope they fucking die. I really do. Anybody that was involved in it, anybody that profited from it, anybody that fucking looked on in silence, everybody that went along with it, I hope they all fucking die. I don't have any fucking regret about that. It's sleazy. What they did was wrong, all of them. And I don't give a shit. I literally don't give a shit. And but yeah, he and I got kind of mad at him because I even talked to his one friend. I shot her an email and I go, hey, look, I go, he's not doing good, and I'm seeing it. I was already seeing it that day. He's in a lot of denial with his shit. But I kind of told her what was going on, but I go, this whole thing he's telling you, I go, I don't know what to tell you, but I go, he had these huge legs, and, he can claim it's lymph nodes or whatever, maybe it is, but they went away when he got dialysis. They didn't fucking do what they did to my dad and hook up things to his legs and drain shit out of it. They hooked him up to dialysis. And all dialysis does is purify your blood. It basically does the thing that your liver does. And when they did that, his fucking legs came down. His skin's already fucked, as far as I can tell. It looks like elephant skin. It's all gray and scaly from when it's stretched out. And and the other thing, and I didn't tell anybody this. I didn't mention it to her. But the fact is, when I got home, he was playing this little fucking game where he'd get stuff for his health, and he wouldn't fucking use it. Like, he was supposed to do all this shit, massage his legs and all this stuff. And when he was actually going to the rehab, he did. And as soon as the rehab was over, he quit doing it. And, he got one of those CPAP machines. And they got it. I think he used it a couple times. And then he quit using it. And he, he wanted, because they kept wanting to schedule his appointments at this place called North Point. It's out of town. And my mom doesn't, well, she didn't like to drive out of town. She always wanted someone else to drive. Well, my sister wouldn't drive him to these things. So he had to get it somewhere in town. And I don't, I don't know. I really don't know who to blame, but I'm thinking you got to blame him on some level because they kept scheduling these things at North Point. And my mom asked me if I could drive them, and I go, well, it depends on the day. I go, you can't schedule the appointment because I go, when the day comes, I might not be able to drive. And I told her, I go, even if I could, I don't know if I'd want to because I go, Mom, he goes to these places, he gets stuff that he's supposed to use, and then he never uses it. He had these things he was supposed to put on his legs to help push whatever was in his legs out of him. They kept him, I think they were supposed to keep him warm and they were supposed to put pressure on it. And I think he used them at first, but he didn't clean them. And when they started to stink, I think he quit using them. And I don't know what to tell you, but it's like, look, you can't help people that don't want to help themselves. It's just that simple. You can do everything. You can do everything you want to do to a horse. But if you get the horse to water and he won't drink, there's literally nothing you can do about it. And it's the same thing here. But I kind of got on him and I told him, I go, this shit you do. I go, and he's like, and I go, Josh, I go, I heard you. I go, you literally told him that the family was like, poor me, my family just abandoned me. And I go, you might be able to say that about our sister. But I go, when you were at that nursing home, he was somewhere that they were paying for and they were taking care of him. And he wanted to get home so he could get back on the fucking dope again. The prescription dope, but it's dope. And if he'd have stayed there, I think he'd have been fine. Because once he was in there, it would have been hard to, but he fucking moved heaven and earth showing them that he could take care of himself, so they'd send him home. He'd get back on those fucking dope from the doctor. And it didn't work out like he thought it was gonna, but that was his whole goal. And I told him, I go, you were told that Mom was sick. She couldn't take care of you anymore. You were going to have to do your, medication by mail. You were going to have to get rides to your thing. And that was all set up. And I go, again, 99.9% of the time when he's got a problem or when he's upset, it's his own fucking doing. He did it himself. And, but I kind of told her in the email, I gave her the cliff notes of the shit he's done, before and after he's been home. And I go, he can claim lymph nodes and all this other bullshit that he wants. But I go, he hasn't been to dialysis since Thursday. He missed Saturday. I go, it's either Sunday or Monday. I go, I'm noticing a difference. I go, he's starting to devolve back to the way he was before he ended up in the emergency room and he came over to that nursing home. I go, he's just basically getting right back where he was. And now here it is a few more days later. We're on Wednesday, so tomorrow will be a week since he's had dialysis. He's already back to where he was before he ended up in the nursing home. He's, and again, this is what gets me. You take a look at Mitch McConnell. You can say the same thing about Feinstein, but here's the thing. The Democrats had a plan to get her to resign and get her replaced, and the Republicans are blocking it. If the Republicans weren't blocking it, I am pretty sure that Feinstein would be gone. They'd have a good replacement in there for her. But my understanding is the Republicans are blocking it. But you take a look at Mitch McConnell. This is a guy that is flipping out, and he'll be in the middle of a sentence. Somebody put a meme up. What they did is they showed Mitch McConnell the statement. And it was a meme, it was meant as a joke, but I think it's something he actually said. And it starts out somewhat as a coherent sentence. And then about halfway through the sentence, it kind of devolves into nonsense. And then they go the response, and they had, Diane or Senator Feinstein's picture, and it was just random words strung together. And, I don't mind him being there. I really don't. I literally do not mind him being there. But the part that pisses me off is, a senator is making something like 150, it's somewhere between 100 and $200,000 a year. And they've got great health care. Well, when you look at Mitch McConnell, this is a guy that, with what's going on with him, would not be able to work a regular job. He wouldn't. I consider his health care and his pay disability for what the fuck is wrong with him. And I am sorry. Every American that's on disability, or everybody that needs disability like me, should have the same fucking treatment. All I should have to do is bring in a doctor, like what he did. I should have to bring in a doctor's note. This doctor said, "Hey, I'm good for this Senate disability program. I can keep coming in here," and that's all you should have to do. You shouldn't have to jump through all these fucking hoops like what I am doing. And they're still going to probably deny me anyways. So seriously, right? If you don't mind, I'm asking. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking you to buy me anything. Just reach out to the people you vote for and ask them to legalize assisted suicide. Because even if things work out, which I doubt they're going to, because even if you get on disability, it ain't that much. I'm looking at the shit my brother's going through, and it's just not a lot of money. It's not the Senate disability program where you'd have plenty of food and good health care. Um, I'm pretty sure Mitch McConnell, if he needs dialysis, he's not going to have any fucking problem getting a ride there. He's not going to have any problem getting his dialysis appointments. And that's not what us normal Americans are experiencing. Same thing if you're on Social Security. I used to see this when I was working. It broke my heart. You go in there to get your medication filled, and you've got old people in there, and you can hear them talking about, well, the couples. And they're like, well, we really need this medication, but we got to pay the rent this month, or we got to pay this on the, there was always something they needed it for, either like a rent payment, a repair that they needed to do, groceries. There was always something where they had to choose between two things that they had to have. And if you're on that disability program in the Senate, you don't have to worry about that. You got plenty of money. You've got great health care. And I'm sorry, if we can provide that for the people in Congress, we should be able to provide it for every single person in America. You just should. And so please write them, ask them to legalize assisted suicide. And then the other thing is reach out to them. This one here, again, if you don't want to do it, if you don't believe in it, etc., etc., I can kind of maybe respect it. Maybe not as much as the assisted suicide. That's more of a moral thing I could see people having a hang up with. But you need to write them, and it sounds like they're going to have a vote, but write, and it only does any good to write the people in federal government. But you could write the president, you could write cabinet members if you want, but write them and ask them to, and you could, I don't care if you write them a letter, I don't care if you send them a postcard, I don't care if you send them an email, I don't care if you reach out to their offices on social media, I don't care. I have heard, and I think they might be right, that if you actually take the time to write them a letter and stamp it and send it, it probably carries more weight. But I really don't care how you reach out to them. Reach out to them and ask them when the vote comes up for Senator Chuck Schumer's amendment for UFO disclosure to vote yes for it. We want to pass that. And tell them, because I haven't heard this one's coming up for a vote, but let them know we also need Senator Gillibrand's amendment. Schumer's is going to go in the Defense Authorization Act. Hers was, I believe, going to go in the intelligence authorization. I say we need both of them. I don't even know if they're enough, but I think both of them would be better than one or the other. And but let's get those passed. And I honestly think it's a huge thing that we need to do. And but write them and ask them. Write the president and let him know that when it comes before him, sign that puppy, make it law. And I think we need more. And I've been writing him, but hey, that's what's on the table right now. Let's not look a gift horse in the mouth. Let's get that. Let's get it into law. Let's get moving on it. And then the day after, let's get them working on something for next year. But I firmly believe with some of the stuff that's come out that what they need to do is they need to basically, just like the rape cases, I think they need to take this away from the military. I think they need to take it away from intelligence. Uh, I suggested that they have something. They need to basically create something permanent for it. But for right now, I recommended that they have something kind of like that committee of widows that looked into 9/11. They got a lot done. And but basically some kind of a civilian thing that will have access to everything. Um, have language in there that if anybody, military contractors, private companies, the intelligence community, if anybody obstructs in any way, even circumstantially, that they can go to jail. And maybe it should be for the rest of their lives. I don't know, but we need something because I'm going to be honest. I don't know what we're going to find. I got a feeling that some people out there are not going to get what they want. They're just, it's not what they think is going to happen. Isn't. I think they're going to be disappointed. But the thing with me is, we saw it with Lou Elizondo, and I'm sure it happens to a lot more. But I'm just saying we saw it publicly. We saw it with Lou Elizondo, and we saw it with that David Grutch. These guys were witnesses for Congress, and we saw them get harassed. We saw a disinformation campaign trying to smear them and discredit them. People need to go to jail. That I don't know if you want to call it contempt of Congress or fucking federal witness tampering, but whatever the crime is, they need to go to jail for it. They need to lose their job for it. I'm sorry. There's just no way to be nice about this. There isn't. And because they did that with Lou Elizondo. He's the guy who ran ATIP. I think it's AATIP or something like that. It was a program that Harry Reid had set up. And I'm just going to let that go because I want to see if this stuff will spawn on the cement or if I got to put dirt on every one of these. And I need to, I got 2 pieces of iron. I wish you could make snips out of copper too. But I got 2 pieces of iron, and I'd like to get a little bit more before I go ahead and make my snips. So I can make. I wish there was a way you could do it without that. You could make it in the crafting table, make your little carved pumpkins, but no, but we need both of those passed. And so that's something I'd like to see done. Well, this guy, he had this thing on Threads, and it really seemed like he was freaking out a little bit. And maybe that's the wrong word, I don't know, but he was kind of curious. And I told him, I go, well, what we know for sure is, I go, there is a whistleblower, and I go, he talked to an inspector general, and the inspector general, after talking to him and after he investigated it, I go, he investigated it thoroughly. He reached out to Congress and he told them that this whistleblower was credible and what he was talking about was urgent. I go, that's a fact. And I go, he has come and he has testified to Congress. But I go, that is a fact. That it was basically stated that what he came forward with was credible and it was urgent. That's what Congress was told by the Inspector General. And I go, he had the ability to investigate everything. He had the security clearance to investigate everything he was told. My understanding is there was a hostile and non-hostile witness list that the Inspector General was able to interview. I think it was like 40 people or something like that. I might be wrong. I'm just, I just don't. I'm not even asking you to trust and verify, but that is something. If you're curious, verify it, because I'm not 100% sure. And so Congress brought him in, and I go, he had classified meetings and he had unclassified meetings. And I don't know that it was with him, but when they did that public hearing last year, after that public hearing, Congress was briefed privately by the DOJ. It was either DOJ or intelligence. It was a classified hearing. And when they came out of that, there were members of Congress that were freaked out. You could see it in their face. And it was people on both sides of the aisle. There was one, and I believe it was a Democratic senator, but there was one senator, I believe. It might have been House, but it seemed, I'm going for, again, don't even trust, verify, but I wish I could remember the guy's name, but it was, I believe, a senator, and I'm guessing, again, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was either Senator Whitehouse or Senator Sheldon. And if not, it was somebody like that. It wasn't like some new hire. It was a seasoned senator, somebody that's been there for a little bit, somebody who knows definitely how government works. He definitely knows which side of the bread you get the butter put on. And when he came out of that briefing, he was overheard. I don't know if he said it directly to a reporter, but as he was coming out, it was picked up on camera. And he just said that he thought the American people deserved to know the truth. And again, he seemed rattled. You take that Skinwalker Ranch show. I think the guy's a douchebag. I sincerely believe the guy's a douchebag. He's a senator from Utah, Mike Lee. And he went out and talked to those guys. And again, usually the guy is a douchebag. He's got his douchiness on full display. It is what it is. And what happened was he seemed shook. Mark Rubio was the same way. Again, another guy. Yeah, I think he's douchebag number one. But I saw him doing an interview and he seemed bothered. And he just, and he made that, I'm going to harp on this because I mean, again, when you've got a guy that's that big of a douchebag and something has scared him straight, I think we all need to stand up and take notice. And that's what I told the guy on there. I go, that one senator, he came out of that and I go, they all seemed shook. But he made the comment that he thought the American people deserved to know the truth. Well, that tells you right there that these members of Congress seem to be well aware that we're not being told the truth. Whatever it is, I don't know. I don't want to claim to know. But there is some unspoken truth out there in Congress. And they were exposed to it. I don't even know if they got the whole story. And I don't know. But that Senator Lee, when he was out there, and I think he knew Dr. Taylor's background. Like uh, I don't know exactly what his title is, but Eric, the lead scientist, the one that's running the program there, they brought Dr. Taylor in to help on season one of that, but he'd been running the investigation since the Brandon Fugel bought the ranch. Well, I think Senator Lee was well aware of Dr. Taylor's, background. Where with Eric, and this might be one of the smartest things they did, just because of his reputation. But they brought in Dr. Taylor, who worked for NASA. He worked for the military. He worked for intelligence. He's been he isn't some, high school teacher that's now, and I don't know what Eric is. I don't know his background, but he's what they call an observational scientist. And that right there, when you get all these people, the debunkers that want to debunk eyewitness testimony, well, that's what that is entirely what observational science is. And it also shows a level of caution and concern by the people at the ranch that I completely respect. They went into it and they're like, okay, well, and I don't know how long it was. I want to say it was at least a couple of years. And they honestly felt that Eric had run his course and they wanted to bring in somebody with a different background, different skill set in science. But he doesn't poke the hornet's nest, as they like to say on the show. He doesn't stir things up. He just observes, makes notes. Not a bad way when you are dealing with something that might be hostile. And they experience stuff. They absolutely experience stuff. But that was his expertise. Well, they brought in Dr. Taylor, guy with a huge background, well known to government. If they ran a background check on him, and he's just like he's. And again, if I was in his position, I'd probably be the same way. I'm not. I just watch it on TV. I wasn't actually at the ranch. But he made the comment. He's like, well, okay, clearly you got stuff going on here, and he probably got reached out to because the former governor had been there, and I think the sitting attorney general had come there, and he was seeing stuff. So he probably reached out to the center. He's like, hey, look, this is what we got going on. Can you come out and get into this, because there's something going on here. You got military. You got military craft launching, going there. They don't have any identification records. They're not flashing a beacon for the flight radar. Basically they've got a thing in there. It's not a military level. You might not be able to get that, but they have something that picks up transponder codes and shows you where the vehicles are. Well, they've had multiple vehicles that come in there without a transponder, and according to them, that's illegal. If you're like a local dude crop dusting, you might not have to have it, but with the distance that these things are traveling, especially at night. And here's the thing, they're launching rockets. They're doing laser experiments. They have done their due diligence. They have this thing that shows transponder codes. So if they're doing this stuff and they see something flying in the area, they would know to stop for safety reasons. And you've got these things coming in without a transponder code. They're flying covertly. They're not trying to alert anybody. Basically, they don't know they're there until boom, they're there. Till they can hear them, feel the vibration, or see them. They're unaware that these things are there. Well, this is a safety hazard for one and all. It could cause the plane to crash, which is a danger to people on the thing. I'm not as concerned about that if they're fucking around. But if that plane crashes onto people or a building, well, then guess what? Now you've got a danger to the people. And again, they don't deserve this. They literally, absolutely do not deserve this. So somebody needs to get to the bottom of that. And the senator was asking a question. He's like, well, could this possibly be foreign government and all that. And Travis, without even blinking, said, well, if they've leapfrogged us by like 50 years or more, absolutely. And the look on that senator's face when he was basically told that, well, yeah, if they've leapfrogged us by no small amount, then yes, it absolutely could be another government. But, like, and the funny thing is when they say this, um, and I think it's News Nation, they did this. They went and dug up stuff from the World War II era. I've seen documentaries where they've done it too. There was one talking about the ghost rockets of like Scandinavia or Norway or something like that. These things are describing things back in the 60s or the 50s. You can go back and look at the Foo Fighter sightings from World War II. They're describing what we're seeing now. Same type of craft, same maneuverability, same impossible physics. And it's the same stuff we're seeing now. They were seeing it back then. There's a story of like an alien that crash landed in Texas back in the 1800s. I think it was right near the end of the 1800s, and it lived shortly with the people of Texas, according to them, and then they buried it. And there is, I believe, a record of somebody that lived either on or near the burial site that got like, what looked like deformities from radiation because they buried his wreckage too. And this was back in the 80s or the 90s. There was a group that went down there, they investigated it, and they had a metal detector that told them there was something setting off that metal detector when they found the grave site. There was something in the ground that was setting off that metal detector. And there was a pipe that came out of the ground that probably went down to the burial site. And they were trying to get permission to exhume the grave so they could find out what was buried there. And when they started moving on it, somebody blocked them. Absolutely said they couldn't. Well, then when they came back sometime later, they checked the area, and the whatever was setting off their metal detector had been gone. Somebody went and took it out of there. So there was some kind of a cover up. And then I think the next time they went there, somebody had basically removed the headstone. And they made some changes to make it harder for anybody to find that gravesite again. And I don't know. But I don't know what we're going to find. I'm not going to lie to anybody. I really don't know. But here's the thing. That guy that was found credible by the Inspector General's office, he flat out said that there's money being misappropriated by whatever's going on. And that one congressman, at least one congressman, is basically saying that, and Jon Stewart went off on somebody, and I don't know who she was. I don't think she was a legislator. I think she was in the executive branch. And Jon Stewart was going off on him because they were doing these audits of the Defense Department, and they're always failing these audits. And that one congressman said they failed every audit they've ever had, and it's usually by like $1 billion or more. And even if we don't find ET, even if that's all bullshit, okay, if you do the audit, you're gonna find some criminal activity. You're gonna basically, if you do a good investigation, if you get to the bottom of this, if you don't let them lie to you about classification and national security, you're probably gonna find people that are stealing our tax dollars. if you find ET, it's going to be a bonus. But regardless, there I can give you a billion reasons a year why we should be doing this. A billion, there, and that's just the money they can't account for. There's money in the budget that is being spent, but we think it's being spent on Project A and it's being spent on something we don't know. And I keep saying that this is an Iran Contra level crime, but at least with Iran Contra, we knew what they were spending it on. We don't know what they're spending it on this. We really don't. And I think we deserve to know what they're spending it on. So, let's get that going. And but yeah, I mentioned this to him, that hey, these are the things we know for a fact, and I kind of went over those. That this guy was found credible. Congress was told he was credible, and what he's talking about is urgent. Talked about the money coming up missing. And then the other thing I kind of mentioned is that, if you look into the work of Graham Hancock, and I think Randall Carlson, he's a Mason. I don't really know that much about him, but I saw him do an interview with Carson. Him and Carson were being interviewed by Joe Rogan. I've actually started watching one that he did where he's talking about he said he did like an 18-hour thing on Atlantis, and I'm like, holy fucking shit. I'm like, yeah, I got it. He's way smarter than me. He's way more knowledgeable. But my God, you got to learn. I'm sorry, I know that much. You got to learn to boil that shit down. 18 hours. He was talking. I can't remember who he was talking about. I'm just like, holy shit. I'm thinking, God, he either just drones on worse than I do, or there's a lot more about Atlantis. That's why that one video I was watching, and I'm like, I gotta check this out because there might be a lot more to this story than I'm aware of. Either that, or he's just fucking needs somebody to help him focus his train of thought. He might have something wrong with him worse than what I got if he can take 8 hours of material and stretch it out to 18 hours or whatever. And I didn't even cover everything, and I'm just like, holy shit. But but I told him, I go, if you follow there's guys' work, I go, it sounds like there is increasing evidence out there that there was an advanced civilization that existed here for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. And that there was some kind of event that happened about 12,000 years ago that basically put life on this earth back to the Dark Ages, the Stone Ages. And we've been trying to recover ever since. And I go, there's evidence out there. I go, now this I'm not going to say is a fact. Like the stuff I told you before, in this thread, I go, the stuff I mentioned before, I go, I'm pretty sure that's factual. I go, I don't think you can make a case against it. That's just the way it is. But I go, this stuff here, I would say, hey, maybe it's true, maybe it isn't, but it's interesting. And that's what's going on. But again, who knows? But this is why it's important to see if we can get that shit passed in Congress, because whatever it is out there, we might actually be able to find out if we just get a couple things in there. The other thing I really hope they don't fuck up on, and this was back when Lou Elizondo was first going around with it. There is, I highly recommend, he's done at least 2 interviews. He might have done a 3rd one by now. That I don't know. But he did 2 interviews with, I can't think of the guy's real name, but it's the YouTube channel Theory of Everything. And in one of those, he asked Lou, he goes, why would anybody try to cover this up? He goes, I don't understand that. And Lou told him, he goes, here's the thing. He goes, I got to answer this very carefully. And he goes, hypothetically. He goes, I'm going to answer this one hypothetically. I got to be real careful because he's got to basically talk about stuff that, could be in the public discussion. And then that way he's not getting nailed for violating his security clearance. But he said, hypothetically, if the truth were to come out, what you could have is you could have massive lawsuits filed against, criminal lawsuits for people breaking the law. Because he said there is he goes, there's thing. Okay, it can go up on the cement, so I don't have to change anything. Oh no, maybe it does have to go here. I might have to dig all these up and replace them with dirt. But and he goes, but there's people that could be looking at jail time for them covering this up. Look at Watergate. A lot of those people went to jail not for the crime but the cover up. And there's some of what's going on with Trump now. People are going to go to jail who were never involved in the crime, but they were involved in the cover up. And I really hope that they follow this to Congress, because it really appears that what you've got going on by the Republicans in Congress, and again, to me, this is criminal. It's not political. They really appear to be using their office to cover up Trump's crimes. And they're not speaking, they're acting. So the speech and debate clause should not, because they're basically taking action. They're filing motions. They are exercising authority. They are sending notices. They're threatening. None of that should be covered by the speech and debate clause. It really shouldn't. I don't think I'm going to get my way, but in a perfect world, they would be hauling them before the man, and they would be sending them to jail. And I firmly believe that. And what do we got here? I need... Yeah, I'll just dig all the, because that one there, it didn't come here, it went over there, so I got a feeling that they need, cause I didn't know, I've never tried to grow them on cement like this before, or whatever this is, stone, but I know they won't grab on it, they never used to, maybe they fixed it, but they will not grow on a half slab either, a slab either. They need, so like, I think they'll grow on wood, I might be wrong, but I think they'll grow, but they won't grow on a slab. And they grow fine on dirt. Dirt is good. But, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get some dirt. Go put that in there. But, he basically said that, if the truth were to come out, there's a whole bunch of people in and out of government that would likely go to jail, maybe for the rest of some of them are a little older, but they go to jail for the rest of their lives for not reporting this up to Congress like they're supposed to. And okay. What can I fucking ditch? But and then he said, so he said that, these people have got to be afraid. This would be a reason why they're covering it up because they're going to go to jail. And I'm sorry, that's the way it should be because we're learning this with Trump. If you don't put these people in jail, it's just going to happen again. I'm sorry, they can't be given. Ooh. Usually you don't see witches spawning like this unless it's I really don't want to fuck with him. I don't have armor. I'm gonna go back over here see if I can get them guys to despawn. Yeah, retreat. The valor of discretion. Yeah, I don't have a lot of food and I don't have any armor on, so I definitely don't want to go fucking with that witch. Because, if nothing else is gonna eat up my food. I don't have anything on in here, and he's got the TV on. He doesn't even have it up that loud. And again, I don't know, but he, it seems to me he's doing it for attention. And I've flat out told him, hey, you got to turn that down, because there was one morning, I think he figured it out, because I think he did. I didn't really say too much to him until it happened the next time, but he had his phone blowing up at like 4 in the morning. Now I get up to feed the cats before me. He doesn't fucking. The house could be on fire, and I don't think he would fucking get up to save his life. But he's got, for whatever reason, he's got his phone blowing up, and it's whatever it is. It sounded like R2D2 fucking raging against something, like when he was electrocuting. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I don't really give a shit what you got it for. This is bullshit. It's some absolute grade A bullshit. Um, and what all I did instead of saying, I cranked my TV, and I'm sure it was. He didn't say a fucking thing, but I just cranked it and woke him up like 4 or 5, and I just left it on. I think I ended up going back to sleep. I had it on. He never said a thing. Never asked me to turn it down. Nothing. And Well, then there was another day where his phone went off that early. And, and again, I said to him, I go, hey, whatever the fuck that is, whatever it's for, I go, you don't get up this early. I go, there's absolutely, because I was basically on my way to feed the cats when it went off. And he was scrambling, because I was going to go in, take his phone, and either put it outside or put it on the fucking porch, because it doesn't need to be going off. He didn't take the subtle hint when I cranked the TV, and he was struggling to turn it off. And I just told him, I go, hey, look, I don't know what's going on. I go, I don't want to fucking hear it. But I go, you either need to turn that down or turn it off. Because I told him, I go, I better not have to keep listening to this shit in the morning. I go, whatever the fuck it is, turn it off or turn it down so I can't hear it outside that room. Because I go, that does not, I don't know if it's something he's got going on for one of his games or whatever, but, whatever it is, either start turning your phone off or turn, I don't want to hear any excuse, well, because this is how he lost his fucking internet privilege. I was literally going to relocate it at least out to the porch, if not outside. But, I'm sorry, no, that's just wrong. That's just absolutely fucking wrong. But I think it's just a cry for attention. And and then he does this thing where he started cranking the TV up, and he's claiming it was water in his ears or something. Well, he's got the fucking text on the screen. So if I'm watching anything in there with him, I got to put up with that shit on the screen. Turn the fucking volume down. You've got your text thing on. Put your phone down, quit playing with your phone, and actually, or turn the TV off. But either way, you don't need that TV up that loud. And as long as, if it ain't bothering me, I don't care how loud he has it. But when I can hear it throughout the fucking house, or if I'm trying to watch TV in the kitchen because I'm eating or cooking, and it's louder than my TV, I can hear it louder than my TV in the kitchen. So I'm sorry that, and he's been pretty good about it. But I think he's just doing it for attention. I really don't know, but it just seems to me that he's likely doing it for attention. Um, and it's like that one day at Woodman's or whatever where he fucking disappeared, and and then because he used to do that to, I guess, my mom and my sister. He'd disappear while they were shopping, and he'd have to text them. Well, I don't always take my phone. Like if he's gonna be there and he's gonna have his phone, I don't take my phone with me because it's I can't really afford to lose it, and he should know that. But this idea where you're gonna just fuck around and then play this little game where you're so important that you have to text me. No, you need to get that shit out of your fucking head right now. 'Cause I don't have time for that either. And but I think that's what it is. It's just some fucking little cry for sympathy, or it's like, look, I got my own fucking problems. I'm really sorry for what you're going through. I really am. If it was something like an emergency, like if you broke your leg, you'd probably still have to get help because, like I told him over the hospice, it's like, look, mom was like 140 pounds. I go, you've basically ate and done nothing for so long. I go, you're too fucking heavy. I go, I can't fucking move you around. I can't help you. If he broke his leg, it'd be the same thing. If he broke his leg, well, I cook for him most of them. Unless I'm too sick to cook, I cook most of the time anyways. But I could help him out a little bit with laundry if he broke his leg. But the thing is, there is so much shit around here. Because I was able to get up and go to the bathroom. I was able to get up and do my showers. I put a grocery bag over my leg and that. He had to help me out a little bit with my laundry. But for the most part, I couldn't really do any. But I mean, fuck, I basically get on the floor and slide around on my ass to empty the litter box. I'd sit on my butt and go up the stairs and come down the same way. So I was getting around with my broken leg. He would not be doing any of that. He'd probably need help going to the bathroom, and it's like I can't fucking do that for you. I mean, even if I was healthy, I wouldn't want to, but like with what's going on, I can't fucking do it for you. And so if he if he did that, he'd probably have to go in somewhere and be taken care of. But I don't know. Um, but now with the way they got, I don't know if there'd be any help for him. This is what I'm saying. They really need to get whatever the fuck they have for the senators. They need to do something for normal people because they need to do something for normal people because these senators that are disabled, they are getting far better treatment than you or I would, and it ain't right. Whatever they're getting, we should be getting. I'm sorry. These are people that work 3 or 4 days a week, partial days, you know, you know, less than half the year. There's like 350 some odd days in the year, a little bit less if you take away all the holidays and stuff. I don't mind them getting holiday pay, I really don't. But they're working less than half the days. They're not grinding it out 5 out of 7 days. They're working like a 4 day week. They get Fridays off. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. When you got the union right now, you get the UAW pushing for a 4 day week. And you know what? I don't know why they're not doing this. They need help. They need help. But what they should be doing is, hey, Congress works a 4 day week. Why should we be negotiating that in our contract? You guys should pass a law that a 40-hour you basically work, and again, Congress would be the perfect example. You guys should basically state that you guys work less than 32 hours a week. You get paid a full amount. So like, hey, you should force these people to for every 32 hours worked Monday through Friday, you get 40 hours. That's a thing you guys should be putting into law. They should be basically throwing Congress under the fucking butt. You guys don't fucking work. I mean, hell, we got a jackass in the Senate that is upholding military promotions because you guys don't work. You guys got a thing in there where you just lump all these guys together and you do a mass approval of these promotions. Well, you could get around Tuberville in a heartbeat because all he can do is block that ease of access. The Democrats, anytime they wanted, what they could do is they could schedule the Senate. Chuck Schumer's in charge. They could schedule that Senate and they basically spend, like 2 or 4 hours a day doing their normal bullshit. Take a break. And then when they, basically that would take them, like do 4 hours, do 8 in the morning, or do 3 hours, 9 in the morning to noon, and then at noon you can take your lunch break, and then when you come back from lunch, you're gonna work 8 hours a day. You're gonna work 1 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and all you're gonna do is those individual military promotions. That's all you're gonna do, and you're gonna do it 7 days a week. When Saturday and Sunday come, when Friday, Saturday, and Sunday come, you're not going to do your normal business. You're doing that Monday through Thursday. So you're going to have 12 hours a day. You're going to work, like 9 in the morning to noon. And then when you come back, you're going to work 1 to 9 o'clock. And do that every fucking day. Get your Democrats on board and then pass every fucking one of those promotions and tell the Republicans, I don't know if they need to fucking throw a bag over his head and beat him in the fucking congressional shower with bars of soap like fucking uh, like Full Metal Jacket. When they're all done, just remember, fat boy, it was all a bad job. I don't know, but they need to do something to that guy. Maybe they need to start taking his committee assignments away. And don't give him any authority and say, hey, this is what you get for fucking around, dickhead. But they need to do something. The Republicans need to. It's his party's problem. Are you guys going to step up and stop this, or are you guys un-American pieces of shit just like him that's helping out Putin by damaging our military? It's wrong. But oh my God, they need to fucking do something, and I don't know if they will. But fucking a man. Uh, but yeah, that's the thing. The UAW is out there. It's like, my God, just start throwing Congress under the bus. It's like, oh my God, you guys should be passing universal health care. Every working people, if Mitch McConnell's disabled and he gets that kind of insurance, every working person, I don't care if they're at Quick Trip, I don't care if they're working for Goodwill, I don't care if they're working for the UAW. They should all get the same health care that Mitch McConnell does. And if you can't afford it for us, then you can't afford it for yourself. But as long as that guy is like, and again, it's already established. Senate for some people is a disability job. You show up, you collect a huge ass fucking paycheck, and then tell them, hey, we're fighting for we're fighting for these wages. You look at Mitch McConnell, you look at Tommy Tuberville, you look at some of those mentally defect people that are in the House. Okay, they're all in there. They're getting a paycheck. They can't fucking hold a real job. All they are terrorists that are trying to bring. The UAW should be doing this. These people are fucking terrorists. They're trying to sell us out to Russia. They're trying to steal fucking elections. They're trying to interfere with prosecutions. If they can collect a full check, then guess what? Every swinging dick person in this fucking country should be able to pull in a full check. Not this $7 an hour. You guys pass a law that, within 3 years or 5 years puts the minimum wage up to like $25 an hour. And then you know what? Our next contract, we'll live with that. But our next contract, we're going to demand 20. We're going to demand like 30 or 35. We're going to demand like another. Again, it'll have a ripple effect. Every time they have raised minimum wage, not some, not occasionally, but every time they have raised minimum wage, it has acted like steroids for our economy. And you can't sit there and go, oh well, this would be doubling it. You can't do that. It's never been done to you. Bullshit. Harry Truman signed into law a thing that damn near doubled the minimum wage. It went from, I think, 35 or 40 cents an hour to 70 cents an hour. Yeah, that low. But it went from like, I think, 35 or 40 cents an hour to like 70 cents an hour. And it basically shot steroids into the economy and allowed Eisenhower to build the national highway system. And these Republicans, you ask me, they can't bring slavery back. And I'm not talking about black people. They want slavery for working people. They want the Roman slavery back for the peons. You got to think, these Republicans, they sent people to the Capitol to attack it on January the 6th. And then when they showed up and started breaking in, then the other side of the Republican Party, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth, but they sent them there. They sent them there to do that. They've got the emails. There's over 130 congressional members that were shooting text and emails. They've got the data to overthrow the government. They were involved in every step of this thing. And when those people started attacking the Capitol, they were telling the police to shoot them. They don't give a fuck about any of us. They give a fuck about themselves. I'm sorry. That's just the sad truth of it. They don't give a fuck about anybody else. They really don't. I wish it was different, but that's just the reality we live in. And but I'm sorry, if they can have that kind of a disability program for Mitch McConnell, well then they need to start doing something for the rest of us. I'm sorry. People on disability, I don't care how. I mean, because again, Mitch McConnell's a piece of shit. This is a guy that basically said that their goal was the Republican Party was to make sure that the government ran so poorly that Obama wouldn't get a second term in office. He literally openly admitted that they wanted to sabotage the U.S. government, the U.S. economy, our livelihood so that they could fucking get the next election. He didn't want to win on ideas. This is the thing that's going on now. The fucking Republicans, they're trying to rebrand themselves. They're trying to get away from pro-life because they're finding out as they lose election after election that being pro-life ain't helping them. But as it's being pointed out by some of the more honest and reputable people in the news industry, they're not actually changing their policies. They're doing what Bush did. Bush had all those bad policies in the second Gulf War. Well, he didn't actually change the policies. He just brought in this communications person that worked for him when he was governor. They brought her in to polish the turd, and that's that's going on now. They're not actually trying to change anything. They just want to come up with that new slogan. You can say what you want, but the Coca-Cola company, when they fucked up with new Coke, they got rid of it. They went back to original Coke. They didn't try and rebrand it or give you a new fucking can and expect you to keep buying it because it's like, hey, this shit ain't selling. But the way the Republicans are, they don't give a shit if their policies are killing the cat. They still want to sell that fucking cat food. I don't know. But that just blew me away today, though, with somebody just fucking, oh my God. It's like, yeah, seriously, I really don't know. And it might not be, there might be a lot. But the one weird thing is, I got sidetracked. Sorry about that. But that interview, one of those interviews, and like I said, there's at least two. There might be a third one now. Do I got something I can throw out? We'll throw that X out. But that one interview, that's why I think there's a third one because I think it was in the second interview where he was asked, and I tried to he put that up as a clip. I swear to God he has, and I just saw it on YouTube. Well, then I went looking for it, and I was going to share it, but the one I found, and I think it's like a 16-minute video that Theory of Everything put up on there, but it's, I believe, clipped from an older interview, and he put it up. But I gotta go sleep. But no, he was asked. He's like, if everybody knew what you knew, what would happen? What would the effect be? And I believe that was, I might be wrong, but I believe that was in the second interview because he was asked something similar in the first interview, and then the Kurt, I think is the guy's name. I don't know what his last name is, but it's Theory of Everything on YouTube. And I don't know if all of them are my cup of tea, but he does really good interviews. You should check him out anyways. What do we got here? Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're not fucking with them. Not yet. Oh my God. Oh! Run away. Run away. I'm gonna try and do this without going to easy mode. I'm probably gonna fail. If I start getting killed too much, I'll rescind this policy. But like when I was doing the other one, I was kind of burnt out that I fucked up the ocean monument. Because again, it's just a matter of thing. I really like getting those, you get the sponges anyways, but I really like getting those 3 sponges from the Elder Guardians. and it really bummed me out. I think there's something else you get from them too, but I really wanted to get those sponges, and then I fucked up and okay, I think they still float. So if he was bobbing in the water, I should be able to see him. But no, but the one I saw, and the one that's on there, and it's I would say it's at least as good or fairly close to the one I wanted. But that first one, he was asked like, what would happen if everybody knew what you knew, and he just said, he goes, well, he goes, I I think I think everybody would just kind of stop. It'd be kind of a somber. I'm paraphrasing. I can't do it word for word because it's been a while. But he goes, I think everybody would stop. I think they'd need time to reflect. And he goes, I think it would take some time for them to reflect on what was going on. But he goes, I think they'd get over it. And, he went on. And then another thing he kind of commented on, and well, anyways, but that I wish it. You should go watch his first two interviews with Lou Elizondo. Again, it's the Theory of Everything channel, and I want to say one of them was last year, the other one might have been the year before or earlier last year. He might have done both of them last year, but he did two interviews with him, and the one that I think I shared, and I could be wrong, but I think it might be a newer interview that I have not seen yet. So I need to go scour that guy's YouTube channel and see if there's something I missed. But the I think he got asked to kind of expound on it, and he said, well, he goes, I think everybody would be somber, and he kind of asked about that, and he goes, no, he goes, because I'm thinking, I'm not sure, but the guy in question, English might not be his native language. I don't know. And I'm not trying to badmouth the guy. I'm just saying I'm not entirely sure it's his native language. And Lou made the comment. He goes, well, he mentioned that it would be like a time of quiet reflection. Maybe you'd like recluse yourself a little bit. And he goes, I want to be clear. He goes, I don't think it would be like what you see in the movies where everybody's out dancing and celebrating. I think it'd be a shock. It'd be a little bit of a shock for people, was kind of the gist he was getting at. And he said, I think there are people that would be driven to a religion. He goes, I think there are people that would be driven from a religion. If they were currently in one, or if they were kind of, on the fence. I think but he was saying it could go either way. You'd have some people that would need to go, and he also said that there are people out there that have been making a cottage industry off of selling, taking people's money, acting like they know. And that's what I'm saying. This one I think was a later one, because he goes, well, people wrote in, they wanted to know if you were talking about Dr. Greer. And this is the thing. When he made this comment that some people that were in the limelight would have to just go. They'd have to just disappear, never to be seen again because of the scam they had run. I really don't know, but that's who came to mind. People like Dr. Greer, who are selling an app, and where you can pay him so much a month, and you supposedly have UFO sightings and whatnot. And then he said there are people who have been kind of shunned for the stuff they've said. He goes, I think somebody would owe them an apology. And I thought of people like Bob Lazar. And and this is the thing. The one female journalist, I don't know. She could go in either camp because she has a website. I don't know if she charges for it or not. I haven't really checked it out. But she has a website, and I kind of wonder if she's in that camp of people that would basically have to go away, or if she's one of the good guys. I really don't know. And I really don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The thing that gets me is I even put the torches down and I'm still getting that shit spawning over here. Oh, yeah, this is what Daddy wants. Hang on, we're gonna... I gotta get some more dirt. I don't think I got any more. But I really don't. Linda Moulton Howell, I think, is her name. I really don't know because she's been doing this for a while, and I gotta be honest with you, with the way things are, because some of the stuff that I've seen her do just seems crazy. But in light of some of the stuff that has come forward now, I don't know. I don't know if the term crazy fits anymore with some. I really don't. I don't know if the word crazy fits with any of this stuff. I just don't. And but I could see her maybe fitting into either category because what got me was but the thing is, I'm not sure it's all her fault. But she's been doing this for a while now, and uh, she was doing that interview with Theory of Everything, and this is a guy that does not come from a UFO. Usually, and again, I could see it either way, where she's either maybe a little dishonest protecting her turf, and I could also see it where she is so used to people who are already, I don't mean this in a bad way, but they're already, they don't need to drink the Kool-Aid. They're already firm believers. And I'm not saying it's nuts. I'm saying, I don't know. But, a lot of times she's doing stuff for people that are already firm believers. They just take whatever she's telling them as face value. I don't want to get sidetracked. I got a really good story from the martial arts over that. But the it is what it is. And he was asking questions because he doesn't. It isn't like he's challenging her. He honestly doesn't know. He's trying to understand. He's said before that he likes doing this subject because he finds it interesting. He doesn't know that much about it, and as a bonus, his fans really like it. And but she got all bent out of fucking shape, I guess, because he was just asking honest questions, like, well, okay. And she thought he was being skeptical or a denial, and I could see it going either way. I could see it being a dishonest response, or I could see it somebody that's been attacked and marginalized and shit on. I could honestly see it as that. You know, just an honest reaction to the fucking denial people out there. I don't know, but I could see it going either way. I really could. I'm sorry, but I need the dirt, so I'm gonna strip like this whole top layer off eventually, probably. I'm just gonna take what I need for right now, and then as I get this stripped out, I'll move the trees. Like I'll move these trees down here, and then I can take that. Oh, in that village, I've got at least two of the fruit there. There were some potatoes in the chests in the village houses, and then I think they got, I keep calling them radishes, but I guess they're beetroots. But fucking A, man. I really don't know what we're gonna get, but like when I see this stuff, like that one, I honestly don't know if it's true or not, but that one they were talking about that race, I think they were called the Novians or whatever, and they said that there's that one bracelet. It was clearly it wasn't something that was made by cavemen because they uh, they were talking about how it had evidence that it had been drilled by a high-speed drill. There was evidence that this hole had been drilled so they could attach a pendant to it. And it wasn't like a simple bracelet that just slipped over your hand. It was one of those. It was like I don't think they had these when I was a kid. I don't remember them, but it's one of those bracelets where you could put it on sideways and then turn it. And there had been like a high speed drill used to drill a hole in it. Not a drill, but a high speed drill. And but when you see this stuff, it's like, oh my god, man. Um, I I don't know what to make of this stuff. I literally don't know what to make of this stuff. I can leave that one there. Okay, we're starting to get stuff now. Oh my God. When I was trying to recover my when I was trying to recover my stuff yesterday, I was upstairs so I could actually I was a little worried about it, but I made it okay. I'm not gonna make a habit of going upstairs right now. I had to go and I had the thing was chirping the other day, and so I went and took the fire alarm down and put a new battery in it. Well, I waited a couple days and I was feeling good enough to go back upstairs, and I took it back up anyways. And while I'm up there, I'm like, well, I'll see if I can fuck around. I was watching the antenna channels, and one of the channels had Lethal Weapon, the TV show, on it, and the guy playing Mel Gibson's character, he followed what looked like a prostitute to meet with her John, and the guy playing Murtaugh, he followed who he thought was her pimp, and when Riggs got close to the house or the apartment or the hotel room, he heard like whipping and screaming. Well, she's like tied up, standing, but she's tied up like this at the foot of the bed, and the other guy's like hitting her in the ass with one of those sex toy flogs. And he let him know that they were under arrest for solicitation. And she goes, "This isn't sex. This is a flogging session." And he's like, he had a confused look. She goes, "He's here to hit me with that thing." And she goes, "He's doing my nails when it's over." And then he looked at the guy, and the guy just kind of, he looks scared, but he's like kind of nodding, like, "Yeah, that's pretty much it." So then he goes, "Oh." And she goes, "Look." She goes, "I paid for an hour. I've got a busy schedule today, so one of you two better pick up that whip and go back to work." And it's Marlon, or it's one of the Wayans brothers. I can't remember what his first name, Damon Wayans or whatever. And he just looked at the guy. He goes, "Well, you better pick up that whip then, you know." And he just strolled out of the room. I looked her up. I was trying to, because she looked familiar. I think it might be the one who played Scotty on Suits, but I'm not 100% sure. I might have to look for that episode somewhere where I can watch it and go back, but because the voice sounded, if it wasn't so much the face, but it was the voice, and but oh my God, that was just so funny as shit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna live long enough to see it, but I really hope I do. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because you had God, it's the guy. It's one of the guys from the Need to Know podcast, and he was friends with Dr. Friedman, or Professor Friedman. He was a nuclear rocket scientist by trade, and then he became a UFO researcher as a hobby, and then when he was retired. And he recently said that when he died, he was there. He was friends with him, and he was there when the guy was, he knew he was limited. Kind of where I'm at now. He knew that his days were numbered. You know, and he was just so sad because of all the work that he had put into it, and he really wasn't noticeably any further than when he started. So he was a little sad about that. And and again, I haven't done the work. I really haven't. I kind of, it's a hobby. I find this fascinating, but I really would like to get, even if we don't know everything, I'd like to get something established before I die. And it really looked good, and now recently it looks like the people that were hard charging might be caving on this. But I'd really like to see something before I die, and I just don't know that it's going to happen. So hey, get those. Please consider those call to actions, and hope everybody has a good day today.